And that's why I went to Golden State. I took that year to kind of rebalance and, revive what I thought I could be. And I don't think I could have went to a better place to do that. Playing with those dudes just completely changed my mindset of basketball.
What is it about Golden State? Because you're a recent example of it, but they have a handful of guys who've gone there, had great years, gone on, signed longer deals, extended their careers, whatever it is. What is it about culture, whatever, the organization, Steph, that really stuck out to you in the 10 months that you spent there?
I don't think there's like this secret recipe they're doing, but like just the style of play they have is makes a lot of guys successful. I mean, not to differ from, Golden State, but like Miami, you guys see what you guys do. You see a lot of guys come in undrafted or two ways, and next thing you know, they're signing long-term deals, and you build within, and that's amazing. I think there's certain organizations that you can just go to and play a certain style that make guys look really good, and I think Golden State's that. Like if you can flourish in that kind of chaos of what they do, I got so many open looks that I never thought I would get. And then you play with certain guys like Draymond you'll think I'm not open, and Draymond will put it right on the money. So you just had to go in and say, all right, cool, let me just run around and play defense, and on offense, just literally just run around that crazy and shoot the ball. And you look really good doing it.
As a shooter, what'd you learn from Steph?
His approach, just the way he came, ready to work every single day, and the amount of shots he took and detail. And there was never a day off for that guy. You would think he's day off, but he's somewhere else working or doing something on his body. Or like I said, that year really changed everything about how I approach practice.
Yeah, people talk a lot about, obviously in Miami specifically, like culture, and Golden State I think is another team that when people think about having good culture and stability, they think about Golden State. The more I've been around the league, the more I've found that really culture is just an extension of who your best player is, or players, right? Like the best players are dictating the day-to-day, how people handle their business. If your best players aren't taking days off, if your best players are super locked into a regimen or routine, if you're a role player, if you're not playing, how can you show up and not be locked into that same extent, or even more so? So I have so much respect for that organization. And then Steph, obviously, specifically, is the greatest shooter ever to play the game, but also just the longevity and how he's done it. And he seems over himself. Like it's not really about him, even though he's completely changed the way we all think about and play basketball. So I just got to imagine like being around that every day. Just obviously you take things and you visibly see things, but just like osmosis of like the way he works and little habits and just things you pick up probably like automatically.
Well, like also to your point about the best player, but it's also like the accountability of a lot of guys that within these organizations either played there or have been around that coach in years prior. And you go to like when Golden State, like Sean Livingston was out there. Like he was, in the front office at the time, but like he was a huge voice for a lot of us. And you had Andre Iguodala, like, Andre was still playing, but Andre's old ass was still. He was a coach at that point.
Chilling, doing his thing.
But like
Dre's a legend though.
He's a legend. He was the voice. Like and like you go to Miami, you have guys that were played that are on the coaching staff that hold everybody accountable, and they hold even the best players accountable. So when you see that and they're like, hold on, Steph's getting cussed at and cursed at and coached a certain way. Like who am I to think that I should have an attitude the way, if they say something to me.
I think that they can learn about themselves as you're looking at this NBA Cup where they have a chance to advance.
Yeah, I think this actually has great value for them because they are doing an experiment this year. They're experimenting whether this team, this system, they can play 12 guys and all together, and even though they're young and even though they have smaller roles, that this can work and compete on a championship level. And this is a test run in this Emirates Cup that is actually going on right now. And quite frankly, it's important for the whole league. Because if the Warriors don't think that they've got a good enough team in January, they may go into the trade.
Look, Wendy, I don't have to wait till January, okay? The Warriors been popping in the West like Kendrick Lamar's new album, okay? When it comes down to what they've been doing, I've been watching this team since preseason, and they have a certain type of look. They have a certain type of synergy about themselves. They defend at a high level with Draymond Green anchoring their defense. They're number one in perimeter defense. Here's the thing, though. I believe that the Warriors are legit title contenders. But I need to know, Bob, do you believe that they're legit?
I think they're going to win it every year, Bert. Every year.
Oh, really?
No, yeah, look, I didn't going into the season. But now that I got this thing on, I feel very confident in the things I say. I feel good. You know what? They have certainly looked like it. Yeah, why not? I mean, the West. Here's why I will say why not. I'm actually surprised the West hasn't looked as strong as it has. In 22, I remember when I was there, we huddled up. I was talking to Mike Dunleavy, and he said, "This is our chance because there's no dominant team." I feel like there's no dominant team. We can talk about a team that I mentioned as my finals favorite in the West. That was Oklahoma City. I still think they're going to be hard to get around, but that's the only team. That's the only one I see as an obstacle for the Warriors right now.
The reason that Oklahoma City and Golden State are so fascinating is that both of them are good and they're upwardly mobile. They can improve their rosters during the season. Now, Sam Presti, the president of the Thunder, has come out and said, I don't think we're going to make any trades this year. Mike Dunleavy has said the exact opposite. They could look to do trades.
And when mentioning trades, I'm looking at Jonathan Kuminga. Started the season in the starting lineup, now moved to the bench. Some nights he's playing 20+, some nights he's not. Didn't get his contract extension. So if it's one player to look at that they can move to upgrade and get better, that's that guy.
But I think the West has been so uncertain as well because of all the injuries we've seen to teams that we expected maybe to be a little bit more dominant.
So the Golden State Warriors have shown time and time again that they are the team to beat when it comes to dominating the Western Conference. Now, they did have a little bit of back-to-back losses, and on top of that, it has dropped them quite a bit, but they are still in the top 3 when it comes to the Western Conference, so they still look very, very good. And as we all know, it is still a very long season, so there are going to be times where Warriors may get back-to-back losses, 3-game losses, 4-game losses, all those different things. But when it comes to Golden State Warriors as a whole, they are still doing the right things, which I think is fantastic. If we look at some of the games where they did end up losing, first we look at Brooklyn Nets, which was a surprising loss due to the fact that Brooklyn Nets are 8-10. They aren't the greatest team out there, but when it comes to the Golden State Warriors, they still did shoot very well. They still shot 41% from the three-point line, also 48% from the field in total, so they were putting up great numbers. But where they really struggled in this game was definitely on the defensive side of things. We actually saw the Brooklyn Nets in this game actually shoot a better three-point percentage at 44% and a better field goal percentage at 51%. So it definitely does seem, yes, the Golden State Warriors were putting up great numbers on the offensive side of things, but where they really struggled in this game was definitely defensively. And that is something that the Golden State Warriors definitely need to fix if they want to continue to stay at the top, stay especially in that top 3, which is definitely where they are right now. Now, when it comes to the Warriors as well, we are seeing over the last couple of games, ESPN analysts have mentioned how they aren't really liking Steve Kerr's rotation when it comes to subs and all that. Now, I definitely see that continuing to change, or I definitely see it being a big plus. So we could definitely see something different in the coming future when it comes to someone like, Golden State Warriors Steve Kerr trying to mix it up, trying to do something different in order for that to happen. So I definitely would keep an eye out for this Golden State Warriors team because they may make some big adjustments moving forward, which I think may be fantastic for this roster. So you definitely want to keep an eye out for them, especially with the way that they have been playing. Now, another game to look at was definitely against Spurs, and this is where the Golden State Warriors have definitely shown a bit of weakness, and that is definitely due to the fact that when they do play teams with great big men, they definitely tend to struggle, especially on the defensive side of things. We actually saw in this game, Victor Wembanyama had himself a decent game, having 25 points, 9 assists, 7 rebounds, but percentage-wise, the Golden State Warriors also didn't really shoot too well, shooting 31%, from the three-point line, which is still good, but compared to Golden State Warriors standard, wasn't really the best. So when we definitely see these games, yes, there may be slip-ups here and there, but the Golden State Warriors as a whole are still doing fantastic things. Steph Curry is still playing at a high level. We also see other players like Andrew Wiggins and others others such as Buddy Hield coming off the bench as of recent. Now, when it comes to Steve Kerr's rotation, there are a lot of ESPN analysts that think that they should make a big change with this, and it is really up for question. Personally, I do think that the Golden State Warriors need to mix it up a bit. I think Buddy Hield should definitely be given quite a lot more due to the fact that the way he has been playing as of recent, you want to keep that hot streak going. So it is sad to see that they have restricted him on a couple of these games as of recent when it comes to Buddy Hield's minutes. When we look at the game against Brooklyn Nets, he did only have 17 minutes, which wasn't really, the best for him. So when it comes to the Golden State Warriors, I definitely need to see if they are having or wanting a shot at winning an NBA championship for them to actually make those differences and be able to make those differences last. But overall, they are still looking very good. Their offensive rating and defensive rating have dropped just slightly. Now, they actually used to rank in the top 5 when it comes to both offensive and defensive rating, while also being top 5 in pace.